Wonderful. Welcome back, everybody, to Legal Creative Global Events in collaboration with the Global Legal Hackathon. We are very happy to feature another finalist team from Nigeria, LemonAid. And Jad is the team member. Hi, Jad. How are you today?
Hi, I'm good. I'm good, Tessa. How are you?
Very good. Thank you so much. And we also have Brandon, who is Brandon Gildea, who is a barrister from Ireland. And he's our legal creative panelist for this session. Welcome, Brandon, and thank you for your time.
Not at all, Tessa.
Right.
So we are 2:00 sharp. If you are ready, Jad, you can get started, and I will start the 3-minute pitch, and we'll keep going.
Okay. Ready. Okay.
Whenever you're ready, Chad. Yes,
okay.
Whenever you're ready.
Hi, Brandon. So the name of our solution is LemonAid, the project LemonAid, right? And the problem we're trying to solve is avoidable overcrowding in prisons. So prisons in Africa, in Nigeria, which is our case study, which is where we're from, have overcrowded by 120%. A particular prison overcrowded by 120%. There are 72,000 inmates, and the official capacity of prisons in the country are 50,000. 50,000 has capacity for 50,000 people, and a good percentage of all the inmates are pre-trial inmates. Don't have a case. They don't have case files yet. They're not gone to court. They haven't even been charged with a crime yet, and they're in prisons for years. And we realize that there's a big problem in the country because the prisons are overcrowded, and people are in prison for multiple years for offenses that shouldn't even be that serious. So we decided to create a database of criminal cases from years back, for 5 years back, 10 years back. We plan to go to courts and get all the case files, then analyze these case files and put it in a database that will be searchable, so people can find the different case files they want, and find out the location of their of inmates that they know, can run criminal background checks, and most especially, we link the database to an application, and the application is for lawyers. So lawyers can go on the application and find and take on cases pro bono. They take on these cases. They would see the case files. They would choose to take on the case. They can get help from other lawyers on the platform. And the most important thing is that they can collaborate with third parties to help get the prisoner out of prison. So third parties like NGOs, like churches, people that are willing to help partner up and get people out of prison, innocent people out of prison, or people that have overstayed their due sentence, and most of these people haven't even been sentenced yet. So that's what the problem is. So we plan to create a repository of third parties like NGOs, like sureties, like bondsmen, like private investigators, and all of these services would be available on the platform. So a lawyer can solve a case and get a prisoner out of jail from the comfort of their home. They don't need to have they don't need to go to the court or go and search through tons and tons of case files manually. All of that can be done from their phone or from their computer. So that's the solution that we're trying to provide in a nutshell. We plan to provide access to the information in our database through different methods. We plan to use the search engine on our website. we plan to provide suitable cases to lawyers via the application, and most importantly, we plan to provide access to USSD platforms, because 45% of people in Africa do not use smartphones. So, and those are people that are dealt the harshest, to be honest. So we can provide them. They can send in a code via their USSD phone or their feature phone, and get information on the whereabouts of an inmate, or on the background, or the background of an inmate, and things of that nature. So right now I'll go to how we plan to get funding. So we plan to get funding through bootstrapping, seed funding, incubation funding, and crowdfunding. But we also have plan to make revenue through subscriptions, because lawyers, once we get a steady stream of lawyers using the platform, we plan to create a subscription model where lawyers will sign up to get paid work. So there will be a section of our website that says, "I need lawyers," and it gives you access to lawyers that have been tested, have been tried, have been rated and reviewed, because we have a review and rating system to make sure that the lawyers are actually performing properly, and those lawyers will have access to paid cases. Subscriptions. USSD platforms work with mobile networks, so we plan to make a percentage off of the cost of sending a message, or using or going through the process of USSD. And then online traffic, we are going to have a website. We're going to have views from individuals, from lawyers, from anybody, basically. So we plan to sell targeted advertising to them. We plan to sell targeted advertising to lawyers, and things of that nature. We also plan to partner with the government of the countries that we launch in: Office of the Public Defender, Legal Aid Council, the prisons themselves, the Bar Association, so that we are seen as legitimate, and we won't have any holdbacks, or any or won't be stopped by anybody, basically, because we would have the right backing by the right government agencies. That's it.
Well done. Okay.
Thank you.
So I clocked that at almost 6.5 minutes, 6 minutes 25 seconds.
Wow. I wasn't timing myself.
First thing, yeah, I mean, probably that'd be my to get that down to your going to be a big issue on the final.
Okay.
So that's the first thing. But question. So I practice criminal law in this country, in Ireland.
Okay.
And we do have a system of. So I'm just the bail.
So I didn't get that. Can you say that again?
What does a bail bondsman do in Nigeria?
Oh, bail bondsmen, they stand in place of the person required who requires bail. They would they have to be verified. They have to,
so like a surety. We would call that person a kind of an independent surety. Yeah. Okay.
Like an independent
okay. Well, no, that's fine. No, I get that. Okay. Well, I think I pretty much got everything else. I understood it. A few pointers. I think I'd almost love to see the slides and point it out to you, and maybe we can continue this elsewhere. But the 20,000 over in prisons, I think, is a number you should have as part. I think you gave me the remand numbers, the capacity, and what the current capacity is.
Right.
I think it would be worth giving the figure, like at the moment or as at this date. There's an overcrowding issue, that would very much tie into, let's say, prisoners' rights under kind of the various UN charters. So I think that's something definitely, because that gives it a kind of a global feel, if you know what I mean.
I understand.
And I'm sure you know this anyway, but is standing as an extradition country if there is overcrowding in the prisons. So I think that's definitely worth stressing to whoever you're talking to, that this is Ireland very recently just stopped all extradition to Poland. So this is within Europe, and this is a very recent development. A High Court judge called Judge Donnelly stopped it, and it doesn't look good for Poland. So this is something just to be aware of. Can I ask you, just of the remand prisoners, how many of those do you know would have had an opportunity to seek bail? So I think you said there was 48,000 remand prisoners. So would they have all had an opportunity to apply for bail?
One of the biggest problems is that those prisoners are not some of the prisoners are not even literate enough to know the process, to understand the process of bail, or know how to get it done themselves, and they have no legal representation, right? And without legal representation, without a court date, without a charge, or then they don't know what to do. It could be the reason why people are still in prison could be as simple as, we need to pay bail of $5, but because you don't know what the process is, and nobody will do it for you for free.
But you have to be But I mean, to be on remand, surely a judge has to remand you. So you have to be in custody on foot of a court order. Isn't that is that the position in Nigeria?
That's the same thing, yes.
Yeah. So the onus just for that problem would be at that stage the initial judge hearing it. That's just maybe your approach to the problem. Certainly in Ireland, if there's somebody and they're refused bail or they don't seek bail, the judge remanding them in custody should explain to them, you have this right to apply for bail, or you have a right to be represented. So the judges aren't telling them what their rights are.
Maybe I can't say for sure, but I'm pretty sure that
that's just that.
A lot of prisoners.
Yeah.
Because we had to do some surveys, so we met a couple, and a lot of these prisoners do not know what the next step is to getting out of prison, and it was a very tormentous experience for us to even see that happen.
Okay. Are there many practicing lawyers on your team?
Yeah, we have 4 practicing lawyers and 1 law student.
Oh.
I didn't get what you said.
Do they practice in criminal law?
I think we have 1 lawyer practicing in criminal law.
So what I hear from Brandon's comments is there might be a room for more research as to the process in the local criminal law. Any other comments as to other aspects of the pitch?
I thought I think you've mixed it, and I like the way you have pro bono work and paid. Is there legal aid in Nigeria? Legal aid?
There is legal aid. Yes, there is.
Yeah, and would you would someone using legal would someone using legal bono? I didn't quite get that.
So the process for legal aid and pro bono lawyers is the biggest problem is the fact that it's still manual. So you literally have to go through stacks and stacks of case files to find the case file for a prisoner. And
No, I hear that, but just I don't think they're the same. I don't think they're the same. I don't think pro bono is the same as legal aid work. Do you know?
Oh.
So it's a third category, effectively, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
And while, let's say, human rights, humanitarian law can be taken on by a big law firm on a pro bono basis,
Right.
yes, that's good press for if it's a big law firm doing a lot of company law and they might take on pro bono. I actually don't think the words pro bono necessarily are appropriate when you're effectively you're talking about criminal law. You know, legal aid work isn't pro bono work. Do you get that?
Okay. I have to
Yeah.
discuss that with the lawyers in the team.
So I
always thought
yeah.
that
So I no, it's definitely not. No.
Okay.
Okay. But no. But I like the way your platform envisages mixing them anyway. So you have this. You might come on a pro bono basis or legal aid, but then there's this opportunity to get what we would call privately funded. So I would add that. I would say a 3-tier or 3 trends. I think that was excellent. I'm very much interested in the algorithms you use to, and maybe, I don't know if you want to disclose it, but would it be geography-based algorithms that you're linking people, like, for example, where the prisons are, to lawyers practicing in the area, or what do you have in the algorithms?
It'll be location-based. We have location-based algorithms. We have algorithms that work with the past experience, the verified past experience of lawyers that are on the platform. Okay. So we will recommend case files that match your past experience. We would also recommend case files based on the amount of years you've been a lawyer. So basically, we sort it from misdemeanors to felonies, and then the easier files would be handed to the more inexperienced lawyers, while the harder files to the more experienced ones.
Okay, brilliant. So then, just 2 last things. So kind of 2 headlines. One is data protection, and the second one is just in terms of your presentation, just how you use the slides. Have you? I presume you do have some basic data protection legislation in Nigeria, do you?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. So just have you looked into whether or not this database of yours might, let's say, be something that is subject? Hello?
Yeah, I said might infringe on the data.
Well, either will infringe, or you have to get consent. You have to get the consent of the users before you take up their files and upload them effectively.
True.
So there's a difference between, let's say, a public archive that is available for users.
This is something
the way you.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
So have you gone to your data protection commissioner, or do you have a data protection officer in Nigeria? Maybe you could get some help from them.
We talked to the bodies that handle data protection already, and we spoke about the possibilities of infringement or having to request access from the owners of the files. And I know that it was something we discussed in depth, and we came to the conclusion that we were allowed to use those files. Okay,
very good. I suppose the extent of your use is interesting. At some point that it's you handle the data in a data protection compliant manner. Something like that would be helpful.
Definitely.
And then just sorry. Jade.
Sorry, can you repeat, Brandon? Sometimes it cuts a little bit. Can you repeat that?
So, no, my last thing is just how you use your slides.
Right.
So I think the slides are excellent generally, but you kind of tended to kind of just skip through them. And as far as I could tell, what you were saying didn't necessarily correlate to the slides. And it was a little bit confusing to listen to. So I love your opening slide with the statistics. I love that, because that sets up the problem. That sets up the problem you hope to address. I just maybe put another little bit of thought into what slide comes next, and then the slide that comes after that. I think, I think either you could condense the slides, or maybe get rid of some slides, or maybe represent the information maybe in a slightly different way. Next, so even just going back to the three statistics of 78,000 in custody, 48,000 of whom are on remand. You could do a little picture of a jail, if you know what I mean, and you could represent it that way. But certainly, I wouldn't have slides there in your presentation that you don't refer to. So when you're making your presentation, I'm going on to this slide, look at this slide, and now I'm going to talk around this specific slide, as opposed to your speech generally came across very well. You've got a very good style. You're very easy to listen to, which is excellent. But you could tighten it up in terms of how is what you're saying connected, because if it's not connected, it's distracting.
Totally understand it.
They're my main things. So
totally
well done.
Understand it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Not at all.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Brandon, for your feedback. We also had a live viewer who asked a question, and I think we have a little time for that. Asking you, Jide, if you think this idea can work in another country, or is it only for Nigeria?
No, I think it can work in every African country that has this particular problem, or every country in the world that has this particular problem. So, once we have approval from the government and from the bodies that guide the laws in that particular country, we will be able to make the solution work for them too.
And just, I really want to, I really want to commend you, service that friends and family of people who have disappeared can use. I think that is very scalable, and that has to be something that you can definitely export. So really well done for that. It's the kind of habeas corpus territory you're getting into there, where someone has disappeared, is holding them in a kind of in a Western legal jurisdiction, or common law jurisdiction assigned up to treat. It should be, we would call, a slam dunk. So that habeas, if you're detained by the state and you are, well, then that's a problem. So that definitely, I think, to be of relevance. So really well.
Thank you so much, Brandon, for your time. And Jide, anything else you want to ask Jide before we end the session?
No, everything is fine. Thank you so much for your time to Tessa and Brandon.
Well, thank you so much for your presentation and all the hard work you've been putting into this presentation and solution.
Thank you.
And I encourage you and all the live viewers to see the replays of the previous pitches as well. I'm sure you will be learning a lot, not only from seeing other solutions, but also hearing the feedback from each of the panelists. I find, like, listening to each of them since this morning, I have personally learned a lot, and I am sure everyone will benefit from watching the other pitches as well and comments from the panelists. Brandon, thank you so much for being here, for giving some of your valuable time and sharing your knowledge as a criminal lawyer and a legal tech passionate, really. It was a pleasure to have you here today, Brandon. We will keep going with another live pitch. Oh, thank you. Live pitch is at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, New York time. So in about a half hour, we will be back with another pitch. Until then, take care. It's time for coffee, sandwiches, snacks, and we'll be back soon. Best of success to Jide as well for the competition.
Thank
And
you so
dinner
much,
for you,
Sasa.
Brandon. Bye-bye, everybody.
Yeah, dinner for me. Yeah.
Enjoy your dinner, Brandon.